is almost 6 o'clock. We're gonna have a shuttle here in 30 minutes and go up and start our slack pack. It is 7:45. Birthday girl, Mouse, Jasmine, and I got a ride up to VA 623, which is a super remote road. And now we're heading back. Well, Jasmine's going north because she did this yesterday, but the rest of us are going back to the hostel. Yesterday, Jasmine left at 6, so she probably got up here 6:45-ish. She didn't get back until 9:30 last night, so I'm worried this is going to be a really long day. But I'm going to zero tomorrow either way because I need a break. This is the first time I've gone southbound on my trip. The first, not quite 4 miles, is this gentle, rolling hill, and then we go down, and then there's 3 or 4 fairly big mountains we got to get over. And in addition to that, there's only 2 reliable water sources on this section, so I'm really glad that I'm slackpacking this one. There's supposed to be a sign here. There's a lot of trees down and a lot of burn mark looking things here. There must have been a fire here because these ones are pretty bad looking. It doesn't look like the ones on that side burned. Maybe? This area's got kind of a creepy vibe. Burkes Garden Hostel is on this section. They can do some shuttles, Wi-Fi, waffles for breakfast. So at this crossing, this is 4.8 miles in, still 12.7 to go. There's 3 mountains to climb. The first one is the biggest and it has the longest downhill, but then the third one has the longest uphill. And we also have to ford Lick Creek, because I guess the bridge has been out for the last 2 years. But Bert said that it's only about 8 inches deep, I think, so that shouldn't be too bad to cross. This is the Chestnut Knob shelter. This is an old fire warden cabin that's been converted into a shelter, which is pretty unique. Jasmine was the last one to sign this yesterday, and I think I'm funny. A little information on Path, who maintains the shelter, and a sign encouraging people to volunteer, and then another sign for Burkes Garden, something that tells you about water. That crater up there is Burkes Garden. It's an 8 mile by 4 mile wide crater. Apparently it has very fertile soil. Craig was telling us that it's named because I guess during the Civil War, the cooks would peel the potatoes and then throw the skins, and they got in trouble for that because the men were starving, but then the potatoes started to grow, and I guess the general was named Burke. It's an open space here. You can see why these are the Blue Ridge Mountains. There's one person down there. I wonder if it's birthday girl. This is such a pretty view. This meadow's pretty too. Got some flowers blooming here and there. Another kind of the same view. This is a really long down, so this would be pretty tiring to walk up. There's not a lot of water in this section. There's a stagnant pond here. And if you walk down here a little ways, there's a pipe with a really nice flow. Since I haven't been drinking as much water as I should probably get some. This It's definitely birthday girl in front of me. I know she was in front of me anyway because Mouse and I stopped at the shelter to eat something, and she had stopped before that, so she kept going. And these guys just passed us, and they were like, "That little old lady's lapping you." And I was like, "Yeah, birthday girl is awesome. Like, she's definitely gonna make it. She has the spunk and tenacity of someone who could accomplish that." There's a little fairy village here. Another little sneaky snake. So Bear Garden only offers the 26-mile challenge with them. If you want to do the 17 or the 7-mile, which is this one, you have to call someone else. They recommend Craig, who we used. It's $50 for up to 4 people, so hopefully you can find some friends, because it's kind of a long drive up there on a bunch of twisty roads. But if you want to do the 7-mile, you'd start at VA 625, which is this. There's an empty water cache over there. So we are almost at Lick Creek now. The river washed it out. So either, if it's too high, wait for it to be a safe level, or backtrack. I don't know if this sign really says anything different. Lick Creek is 5.4 miles north of VA Highway 42, which is where we're getting off. Lick Creek is typically no more than knee deep, but may become hazardous, which is what we already knew and expected. This looks like it should have a lot of water in it, but it's barely got any. Made it to the stream, creek, whatever it is. Looks pretty shallow. The rocks were a little slippery and some of them were sharp, but overall not a bad crossing, especially since it was way low. Some of the comments on there were talking about it being like 4 feet. I don't know if I would have crossed it then. It is also just after 3 o'clock, and I've done 12.2 miles, and I have 5.4 left. 2 mountains to climb, and then I'm back. I'm almost at the top of the first mountain. Whew. I'm very sweaty. I don't know if it shows up very well on camera, but I am one giant puddle. This is the Lynn Camp Creek. This sounds like and looks like a pretty reliable source. Somebody left their pants here. It's 5 o'clock. There's 3.1 miles to the hostel, 2.5 of which is uphill. So let's roll. See the sunlight off of the creek because it's so misty over here. I don't want to jinx it, but this hasn't been the worst. It's been steep in a couple places, but for the most part it's been kind of a gentle uphill. And shelter is less than a mile away now. I feel like I haven't gotten much video today because I've been mostly in the trees and the rhododendron. But they all look the same, so it's not worth being like, oh, look at this one. It's not blooming. Look at this tree with a white blaze on it. This is the Knot Mall shelter. The hostel is still 2 miles away. This is the privy at the shelter. No door. So there's 2 little like horn things on top of this last mountain, and we're on the first one. So now we only have 1.5 miles to go. We have to go over the second one, and then we're downhill. These rhododendron are white. I've only seen the pinkish red ones. So I'm up and over the horns, and Route 42 is 0.6 away. So hopefully I will get there within the next half hour and I can get cleaned up because I am incredibly sweaty. I am basically back, so I'm going to end this here. It is 7 o'clock, so it took me almost 12 hours to do 17.5 miles. I did take a lot of breaks because it was hot, but this was also a little bit of a rough section. So thank you for watching, thank you for donating, and I'll see you in the next video.